All right, so we're at the Custom Work Studio, and I think you guys are going to find this is going to be one of our best videos that I've ever made, and I think there's going to be a lot of information on it, and I'm going to kind of walk through due to really no direction on how I make these videos or really what they're going to come out. This is true reality TV. I've already done everything that we're gonna do for the content of the video, but I really needed kind of more of an intro into it. So we got this car brought to us, and we'll, maybe we'll talk a little bit of it as a no start condition with the Terminator X. Again, we're a big Holley dealer. We're one of their elite dealers, EFI dealers, and so you can buy stuff from us. We're also authorized installation center. Holley sends us a lot of stuff. Not local customers, but anybody that's within. I mean, we've had customers come from 200-300 miles away. We work on a Sniper, a Terminator X, almost weekly. We get stuff coming in here, troubleshooting it. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. So one of the things that we noticed on this particular car was a mismatch of components that I brought to the owner's attention, that really he's not getting his money's worth out of his combination. And so this engine started life as an L99, which is basically the automatic version of an LS3 that came in Corvettes, Camaros, probably G8s maybe, I'm not sure what else. But one of the things you're going to look at is we got 1 3/4 hooker. I believe those are hookers. I can't even tell. Anyways, they're mid-length headers, which if anybody knows about header design, the longer the tubes are in the headers, generally the better the torque production is on the engine. The bigger the tubes are, generally is more of a top-end performance kind of thing. For an engine like this, I would really probably recommend 1 3/4 possibly, but more of an 1 7/8 long tube header as we get a train coming by. So another thing that we're going to look at here is this intake manifold, and while it's cool looking, it is not optimal. Literally the runners on it are like 5 inches long. It's some sort of Brian Tooley low ram intake manifold. And one of the things that we show you in another part is the exhaust system. So the exhaust system on this thing is an X pipe and 2 Flowmaster mufflers, and I don't think the Flowmaster mufflers are really doing it any justice, but it's 2.5 inch exhaust combined with these small headers and the short runner intake manifold. And so really this video is all about what happens when you mismatch your components on your engine build or your car build or whatever you want to say. And so for reference, we have a build and dyno sheets and all this cool stuff from a car that we built that is almost exactly the same engine, but with what I would consider a better choice of components. And so we will show you with actual dyno information, and the results are astounding. I mean, you're gonna be blown away. You're gonna be like, no way. I can't wait to read the comments that people say. And I will let you know that I tuned this car, I tuned the other car. The tune on this car is good. It's not like it's got some shit tune on it. The tune's right, okay? Same vehicles, both 1970 Camaros. This one is an automatic that will give or take maybe 10 wheel horsepower. We did lock up the converter when we did it. So anyways, so I think you're gonna like this video and it's gonna be interesting. So keep watching. Hey, by the way, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Leave some comments, man. I wanna hear what you guys think about this. So Keep watching. You'll be astonished. All right, so we got a car here, and we're going to dyno it, but we're gonna do a little bit more than just dyno it. This is sort of a, I don't know, we're gonna kind of hopefully show kind of what happens when you mismatch things and you don't really optimize your choice of parts and stuff like that. So what we're gonna do is we're going to run this thing, and then we're gonna I'm gonna go over first kind of what parts are on it, what the engine is, and then we're gonna compare it to other cars of similar builds, motor-wise, drivetrain-wise, and kind of compare it and see if there's any difference. So let's take a look. Got a pretty decent car. So we'll climb up here on the dyno. All right, so this really isn't the first time that we've kind of had a combination like this. We've put these together quite a few times. So this motor started off as an or an L99, which is basically the automatic version of an LS3. The variable valve timing and the displacement on demand obviously is gone. And it has a Brian Tooley stage 3 cam, which is a pretty big cam. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna compare this setup to a Brian Tooley stage 2 cam in the same motor, and also a comp cam that's really almost the same as the Brian Tooley stage 3. The big difference is, as you can see, is this has a Brian Tooley really short runner intake manifold. We're gonna take a look at the exhaust. So this thing has an X pipe, 2 Flowmaster mufflers, and if you look, it's a 2.5-inch exhaust. And again, if we crawl up here, you can see, but these are Holley mid-length headers. So anyways, we're gonna run this thing, see what we got, and compare them. Right, so we did a couple pulls on this thing and tried to make it, you know, as fair as possible. We made it so it would lock the converter, locked it in 3rd gear. And so we're gonna compare these two. This is the one we just ran. This is one that was been run previously on our Orange Crush Camaro. Both of these are LS3 engines, basically completely stock. This one has a Brian Tooley stage 2 cam in it. This has a Brian Tooley stage 3 cam, and max power 448 horsepower and 442 foot-pounds of torque, and that's just amazing. And that's a stock LS3 intake manifold, 1 7/8 long tube hooker headers, and a 3-inch hooker Blackheart exhaust system. And you know, both of these things made max power. Let's see, this one made max power at just over 6,000, but I mean, if you look at this power curve, it's pretty flat. This one was a little more peaky, and it made max power at like 6,600 RPMs. So we're gonna go over here to the stage 3, and our max power, we did a couple pulls, and it was all right around 400 horsepower. One was 398, one was 404. But again, the torque is where it just really suffered. We're talking 329, 334 foot-pounds of torque. And the torque's fairly high, 5,600 RPMs, whereas on the other engine, it was 4,600 RPM. So, you know, really just, and again, the cam is 229, 244 versus 225, 238. So, you know, it's like 5 or 6 degrees bigger. Drivability is a lot better on the stage 2 versus the stage 3. All right, so I wasn't able to really make a graph and overlay the two to really give you a comparison, but if you look, torque 1 is the white Camaro, power 1 is the white Camaro, and torque 2 and power 2 is orange crush. And I mean, you can directly check these numbers, 3,000, 3,500. You know, you can see that, I mean, this is exactly what the intake manifold is doing. You can see as it gets up in the RPM, these numbers get closer, and you can see the power as you get up in the RPMs. You know, that manifold on an NA motor really is a high RPM motor. And if we could rev that engine up to 7,500 RPMs, you would see that eventually it would probably make more power if it didn't have a 2.5-inch exhaust and kind of smallish headers on it. So anyways, take a look at these. Anyway, so, you know, to surmise what we thought was going to happen is exactly what happened. The exhaust, it's choking this thing down. The mid-length headers are giving up a lot of low-end torque, and that intake manifold with those little bitty short runners is just killing the low-end power. And so the 2.5-inch exhaust is killing the peak power. So there's our recipe for death. And anyway, so thank Andrew at Andrew's Tuning Performance for running this thing, and appreciate it. And so we'll talk to the customer and see what he wants to do. If he wants to make changes, if it's worth to him, or if he just wants a cool street cruiser that looks neat. I think leaving 50, 60 horsepower on the table is not worth it. So
100 foot-pounds of torque.
And literally 100 foot-pounds of torque, like, you know, I mean, come on, seriously. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hit that like button.